Hi there, I'm Mcrosbie from Finch Chevrolet in London, Ontario, Canada, and you're watching Cars and Crosby. All right, truck time. I did a thing, as per usual. I have got a new truck. It's here, a 24 AT4-X, and we are unfortunately saying goodbye to the Ultimate Denali HD on today's episode. I loved the new Duramax. It is an amazing vehicle, and having this Vader chrome and the amazing interior was quite an experience. I really enjoyed it, but I didn't tow nearly as much as I thought I was going to tow because we've had a tropical winter, and I got the HT to be able to do towing, and you know, the Umber interior was amazing, but I really love the interior on an AT4X. So we've got a new model year. The Duramax is now available in the AT4X. We're going to go all through the swap between my old and the new on today's episode, starting right now. All right, a truck episode, and check that out, CN Rail Truck Edition. There's a truck going along the railway there. That was unexpected and fun. All right, trucks. I like trucks. I use trucks quite a bit in my line of work, and we kind of know what we're doing at General Motors when it comes to trucks. I don't want to start any fights with Blue Oval fans, but I am a GMC truck guy through and through. We do have Chevs. It doesn't fit my style. We're professional grade at GMC, and I dig it. If you're just following along for the first time or you wanted to get it caught up to speed, I got an Ultimate Denali HD because as a Corvette salesperson, I take it upon myself to make sure that I could deliver your Corvette any time of the year. And when we live in Canada, sometimes we have to get out of our igloos and get on the road, and it's a little blustery and windy, and the conditions aren't good for you to drive your Corvette. So why not bring a fancy Cars and Crosby Finch Chevrolet car hauler to bring your Corvette into its home so you can get it as soon as possible. So that was a long-winded way of saying I needed to have a heavy-duty truck to carry a 6,800 pound car hauler with a Corvette inside safely. And the half-ton version, it just, with the new car hauler that we had that has cabinets and everything in it, and it's a dual axle, it wasn't cutting it. We needed to make sure we were properly towing a properly rated amount, and so that's why I got the HD version. It's been a pretty balmy winter. It is dry out, and we're in the middle of February. This is not normal. We have not had a lot of snow. I still used the car hauler quite a bit, but I didn't use it nearly as much as I thought. I love the new HD. It's amazing, but if you haven't figured it out yet, I am not a trucker. I don't own a truck business. I am a car salesman that needs to use a heavy-duty truck from time to time. That's not a reason why to buy one. And I hate to say it in front of her, but I don't like her ride. Comparatively to other vehicles out there, it's a pretty decent ride. So don't think that that was the main reason, but it just wasn't necessary. You should never buy a piece of equipment that you're only using for a temporary time period. So, you know, just as an example, guys that come in and say that they need a truck because they bought a boat, you don't really need a truck unless you're going on a boat tour because you're a Bass Pro professional guy going on tour. If you're doing it twice of the year, borrow it from a friend or rent one from U-Haul. That's easier said than done. The HD has a rough ride because the springs in the back are so stiff, and me not towing all the time, it makes it so that it kicks out like a mule whenever you go over a bump, and it's just stiff. This is without a doubt one of the best riding trucks ever, and I mean that because of the 2-inch lift, the dynamic spool valve suspension system that is right over here in the back, and then I could see it barely in the front here. Oh, there it is over there. That is one of the most practical, advanced, realistic suspensions in the market. And I say that because I could get a freaking 8-inch Fox float suspension from a Raptor and put it in it, but not driving it for that. Back to the original point that I was making before, buy a vehicle for what you really use it for. If I am only using the car hauler in the winter months, and the other times of the year it's not being used for what you buy it for, then don't get an HD. And the same for this. I don't own a Baja racing team, so I don't need 8 inches of float in my suspension. When you're driving 99.9% of the times on roads, having that kind of suspension is just a mess, especially with even crosswinds, in terms of how floaty it is, in terms of catching the right line when you're driving. You know, your steering in particular takes a huge sacrifice when you have a big floaty suspension. So get a suspension that has give in it, can do off-roading, but is designed to be able to do both. It's dynamic, and that's what the first letter of DSSV stands for, is dynamic spool valve technology. And what we have here is relief chambers. So this is a pack of 3 shocks, and when you max out the first one, then you go into the second relief chamber, and then if you get crazy enough to go even more, it would then max out the third. You can take a curb doing a high rate of speed. We're going to put the disclaimer at the bottom here, professional driver on a closed course. You can do it and you'll be surprised with the results. That to me is wild. I can drive it like a normal truck and have an unbelievable amount of forgiveness if I ever decided that I wanted to hit a bump or unsuspectingly hit a bump. That is awesome. That's what I love about the engineering behind General Motors and the professional grade of GMC. If you don't like GMC, by the way, you can get this in a ZR2 or ZR2 for all of our friends down south. It is wild to me, the amount of practicality that you can get with it still being, you know, a non-specific vehicle. Like in terms of me taking this to an upfitter and getting it done to a crazy extent. This is from the factory out of the box with not a single option. Haven't even unwrapped it yet, and it can do a hell of a lot of things. This has an amazing engine. The Duramax in this was just redesigned. It has a lot more low-end torque in terms of jake braking and deceleration when you're towing. This in particular has had some major improvements, and I have fallen in love with the Duramax lineup. And I'm happy to report that for the first time, the AT4-X and the ZR2 can come with a Mini Max. So this is not a 6.6 liter turbo diesel with 978 foot-pound torque. Why you wouldn't just, on a side note, make that an even 1,000, I don't know, but it's 9 and high change on here. And we got the Mini Max, which I'm just gonna kind of lift up her skirt and show you here, because it is a work of art. This is one of the reasons why I've kind of broken a rule that I haven't unofficially disclaimed about buying the same car twice. With me having a rolling circus where I document and showcase what GM has coming on and about, I really don't see a lot of logic in me buying the same thing unless it is a Corvette or something like that, or my wife is wanting to just keep driving the same vehicle. But I guess I can say that this isn't the same because the guts of this vehicle are completely different, and it's also a new color, which is Thunderstorm Gray, which we'll get to. This is an inline 6. Inline 6s are what they say. All the boom booms happen in a straight line, and then we got a turbo on the side here. When you have an inline over a V6 or a V8, the explosions are all in a row, which means that the vibrations are up and down, not side to side from a V. So the idling and just the overall ride inside and the experience from an inline engine, regardless if it's a diesel or not, is significantly better. You have a smoother ride when you're in an inline 6 because you don't have explosions happening at a 45 or sometimes even more of an aggressive angle, making it so that they're causing vibrations from side to side that the body will obviously feel, especially when you're dealing with a turbocharged version with a ton of torque. This thing is very powerful. It's obviously not 9 and change. Why they didn't make it 1,000 again, I don't know, but let's get back to this. It is more than enough, and to me that is a really great option. So it's a smoother ride, it's also a quieter ride in terms of how the engine delivers the power at such a low RPM because it's a diesel. It's also turbocharged, so the exhaust is a little bit more muffled. That is kind of a sad note, is you can't get a performance exhaust, and that would be the biggest win if I was going to get a gas version of the AT4-X, is that you can get a Borla exhaust from General Motors that will make it sound awesome. On a side note, the exhausts on these are quite different just because of it being a off-road vehicle. You'll see you got a similar thing that you see on your toilet, and that's to make sure that if water did get in, that it doesn't go all the way up through your exhaust. So not a showboaty exhaust. It's not integrated or anything like that. It's a functional exhaust, and on a diesel, for obvious reasons, you cannot get a performance version of it, especially because it's turbocharged. So even if you did want to put a performance exhaust on a diesel, it's going to be muffled because it's going through a turbo. So that was the logic on why I went back to the AT4-X. The ride wasn't worth the amount of times that I used it for heavy duty hauling. We're getting into the summer where I don't need it as much, but we thankfully have used vehicles if I ever did need to use a car hauler for a specific reason throughout the year now. So I didn't really need to own it privately to do that. If you didn't know, all the vehicles that I talk about and showcase as a Cars and Crosby thing are things that I own. And I do that because I want to make sure that I can put myself into your shoes and experience what it's like. You know, there's a lot of pitfalls and emotions that are involved with purchasing a vehicle. And if I can get in there and be a chef that eats his own food, it really helps you out in knowing that this is a verified source of information, that it's not just goated because I'm a GM salesperson and I want you to buy from me, which would be awesome, by the way. If you do live in Ontario and you're wanting to get a vehicle, please reach out to me, even if it's not the one that you saw in this video, because I will help you out. And if I taught you everything that you need to know about these vehicles, it may be cool if I came to your doorstep with what you wanted. So yeah, we wanted to go down to a better suspension that fits my lifestyle better. I love the dynamic capability of the dynamic spool valve suspension. The company that makes this is Multimatic, which also just nonchalantly makes a 4GT and the suspension for Red Bull Formula One racing team. So that's pretty crazy that you have a paid to hire engineering firm that designed and built the suspensions for these. It's a new color, it's a new model year, so we've got Thunderstorm Gray, which is replacing Sterling Silver Metallic. And I don't think I have a Sterling Silver Metallic over. Oh, yes, I do. Here it is right here. This is a Denali in Sterling Silver Metallic. Paint code is GXD, and it'll be a bunch of different vehicles that'll have the same color. We burned it out. We do this with grays in particular and silvers. We build too many of them, and then we discontinue the color because it was so popular. And when you go around our lot even right now, you'll see that gray is actually one of the largest market shares of, or growing market share of colors. So black is on the way down, green is on the way up, and gray is tearing it right now. So this is Thunderstorm Gray, kind of like a similar color to what you see on the F-150 trucks. It's a lighter version, or sorry, darker version than my ceramic matrix gray. I'm a big fan of like off-white grays. It does have a metallic sheen to it. We'll wait for the clouds to go back and let the sun shine on it so you can see it a little bit more. I also was not a fan of having a black vehicle, but sometimes the color makes the vehicle, and with this Vader Chrome, I think the Ultimate Denali is really amazing when you have it in a black finish. So I'm not a fan of black. I ceramic coated it, and as you can see, she's pretty damn clean. It does a great job, the ceramic coating. So I knew that if I was gonna have a black vehicle to make it look good, I had to do damage control with the ceramic coating. I prefer a lighter color because this is actually how it came from the factory, and it looks half decent. If you zoom in, obviously, you'll see that there's dirt and it's filthy because it hasn't ever been cleaned yet. But it holds up well when it is covered in dirt. We're gonna do some work to it. So I really like to do a full feature video at the beginning and the end of my vehicles. And to me, the first thing aesthetically that we need to take care of is all these emblems. So I did order those to be painted. We put a trifold tonneau cover with a matte finish on here. So that is a tonneau cover that we sell through our parts departments that's called Rev, and you'll see it at almost all these places. The key component of that is because I bought it through my parts department, it's covered under warranty. So if you're on a dealership's website or their parts department and you see a third-party thing, don't make the assumption that it won't have a warranty because it's an aftermarket part. If it's sold through the parts department, it's been a verified brand that GM will put their warranty on, and that to me is an important thing to take into consideration. So don't buy a third-party aftermarket part and then put it on the vehicle if you can get it through your parts department, because you get the warranty to go with it. That's a big win. So the back with the emblems, we've got these two emblems here. We'll use the multi-pro tailgate to create a nice little workbench for us here. We're going to press the first one and then the second one down to then get some steps in here. On a side note as well, make sure you do not have the ball in your hitch, because it will damage the tailgate when you bring it down. So these are the emblems that I ordered in black. And the reason why I ordered these instead of just taking these off and trying to paint them is because A, the spaces are not going to be perfect when you realign it. This is what that foam guider is. And the second reason is because these have a chrome finish, it's going to be harder to paint them. What color am I painting them, do you ask? Well, I thought it would be pretty cool if we painted it the matte bronze finish that you see on the front grille here. So I'm going to try my best to do this. All of these emblems here we're going to do in the bronze finish. You can see already right here that there is a bronze finish on the side here, so I wanted to continue it. So this was my inspo. I saw that they had already done this bronze finish here, and it feels metallic, like it's colder to the touch than the plastic here. And so I wanted to continue with that theme, with that bronze that you see on the front grille and the side emblems. And that's why I ordered this as well, which is a blacked out version of the side emblem that we're then going to try to pop out that bronze piece or match to paint with a matte bronze finish, this right here, so that we can then get this Duramax chrome gone. So if you haven't noticed yet, I don't like chrome on this vehicle. It doesn't complement Thunderstorm Gray as much as it would on maybe like a nice pearl or like a ruby red metallic kind of paint finish. That would be another one. I am thinking I might keep the red from the AT4s, but we'll see. We're gonna work on a couple of different options. Multi-pro tailgate, pretty awesome. Standard feature that has not been installed yet because it's on back order is the Kicker multi-pro speaker system that goes in here. It's really amazing. I use it quite a bit on my Ultimate whenever I had the tailgate down. It's pretty fun. And then you've got your 120 volt AC outlet right back here and some lights to shine in whenever you have your auxiliary lights on. This is Obsidian Black. This is probably the #1 interior that we make. I guess I gotta unwrap my seats. I haven't even done that yet. So you can see what they look like. They are massage seats, which is just amazing to think that you can drive down the road and fix your back after sleeping on the couch. And there you go. We've got Whisper Beige piping on here, AT4-X emblem, beautiful red stitching. This is called Obsidian Black, and it's got a textured finish to the leather in here. The tailored stitching is primo, and my favorite mats are back on the AT4-X, where you can just pop out this right here and then you can use the mats. So that is a pretty awesome feature to have. And what else do we want to talk about? I think that's all. You know, the interior on the Ultimate Denali, loved it. It was a brown interior, but it was in the same kind of styling as that, with the quality of the leather and the type of stitching with the massage. So they pretty much have the same interior, but this is a black interior, and that's umber, which is a saddle brown color. The ride in this is a lot more forgiving than it would be in an HD. And I've got a new color, and I've got the Duramax back in a half-ton version, and we're going to be doing some minute trim upgrades to start with and see where that takes you. So if you have any questions about trucks, I can help you out. If you're interested in learning more, put a comment, see what you want me to feature. I'm now going to be the proud owner of this vehicle, so if there's something you want me to try to do to see out before you get one, put put a comment. We also got a namer. We just had HMCS Cars and Crosby Ultimate Edition because it was a huge boat, land yacht. This, I don't know what we're going to call her yet. I appreciate you guys watching. Stay tuned for more awesome content. I'm Morgan Crosby, and happy motoring.